So the purpose of this video is to give you some insight into Edmentum's English language program. What we've done is we've taken two learning systems. One is called CEFR and the other is called CLIL, and we've kind of put these two learning systems together in a CEFR and CLIL hybrid program. So we'd like to just start off by talking a little bit about each of these approaches to language learning. So CEFR stands for the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. And basically Cambridge University has researched language learning, and they give us a really important insight based on 50 years of research about, number one, what to teach, number two, when to teach it, and number three, how long to teach it, to get the best effect in a language program. Our second learning paradigm is called this CLIL. It stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning, and so we're focusing on content here. Basically what it is that students, they learn the language across all these different academic subjects, and what that does is it provides richer and more meaningful content in the language learning environment. So you're basically studying language across different academic subjects, and so we've combined these two methodologies into Edmentum's English language course. Now this document, it gives another view of the language structure. In this first column up here, it shows how the public school grade levels correspond with the CEFR book materials. So you see down here starters, movers, flyers, yeah, these are CEFR levels. But when you do the CLIL, the Content Language Integrated Learning, the academic content is coming from these grade levels. You can see how the two systems relate to each other. If you look a little bit in at this details now, in the A1 starters level is Edmentum's Runway series. It's a series of books. There are 18 books, and it runs for 18 months. There's 200 hours of classroom instruction, and so 18 books, 18 months. It's a year-and-a-half program. It matches with first grade and second grade academic content that is also coming from Edmentum's premier elementary program called Education City. So now back over to this diagram which shows the CEFR. The first step is to go ahead and take the CEFR lessons out of the books, and then we move from there into the second step, which is the pure language bridge lessons. So this is CEFR lessons that are directly correlated to the lessons in the book. The third step is to move to online pre-lessons for the CLIL, which prepares the students to finally then take the pure academic lessons from Edmentum's Education City platform. So there's basically 4 steps here, and I'd like to show you each of those steps in turn so that you can very clearly understand the student and teacher experience in using the program. So first of all, I'd like to point out that for each lesson in the book, we go through all of these steps. So this would happen 180 times. 18 books, 10 lessons per book. That means 180 lessons, and each of these elements is involved in each lesson. And here is sort of a bird's eye view of a book. This is in our development environment where the books are assembled. And here, this vertical row here is lesson 1. And so there are 5 pages in this lesson. And you can see here there's then 10 lessons in this book. This is the first step in the student's workflow, as they would get familiar with the CEFR content through the pages of this book. Okay, and that's step 1, simple enough. Now step 2 is where the student moves to the online part of the program for the CEFR online pure language bridge lessons. That environment is right here in this Mind a Pocket website. This is the sister website of Education City for the CEFR part of the program. And here on the home page you can see Runway Book 1 through 4, Liftoff Books 1 through 4. Let's look at Runway. So right here from the home page, we can get into Runway Book 1, and it has all the same lessons that we have in the book, right? So these are the 10 lessons in Book 1. And inside the lesson environment, you'll notice that Asset 2 right here in this pane, in this panel, Asset 2 is actually the same pages that are in the book. So we provide this in PDF form, which is printable right here. For schools or users that don't want the book, they can just print the lesson pages from here. So again, we are still on the CEFR side We've finished the books. We're talking about the online assets now. There's a game. There are, again, the lesson pages from the book. There's the lesson plans here. Then we have this exercise area with multiple choice questions, matching questions, different styles of questions. There's a expanding pane right here where we can expand the assets to be larger, and in that case the exercise questions just move to the bottom. So you have two views here, a compact or an expanded view. Then down here there's a listening exercise that teachers can use in the class. Then there's speaking practice, talking practice, which has a bit of AI and auto response in it. If the student's word matches, if the computer can understand their accent, then it checks it and replies to them, and it prepares the student to use this tool over here, which is they record their voice, and then their voice recording saves. And over here in the student statistics area, teachers, students, parents, they can all see the progress the student's making with the voice recording. So this area up here, then, this is the CEFR area. And actually that completes step 2 of the program, because step 1 was simply to do the book lessons, and step 2 was to do the associated online lesson. So they're coordinated. Step 3 then is to move into the Education City CLIL lessons. Now this is the different learning paradigm. We're moving from the CEFR over to the CLIL now, and we start with the online lesson here. So here we are in Book 1, Lesson 4, and again up here is the CEFR materials. But down here you'll see this Education City logo, and it says CLIL lessons. So the CLIL lessons are under here. The name of this one is called Scrumptious. This is the actual Education City academic unit. But this link right here will transition us from the CEFR over into the actual CLIL. So let me click this, and when we do that, we're moving to the CLIL instead of the CEFR. And you'll notice here the lesson identifier says it's the Education City pre-lesson now. So again, we've moved to this third step. And here in this online environment is very familiar, right? It's the same as the CEFR material, only the content is preparing the students for the academic lesson. So it still has the game, it still has a PDF in here for helping with the vocabulary and the key phrases. It still has the speaking exercise, the listening exercise, and the voice recording. And then when the student finishes this step, they're ready to go to step 4, which is the pure academic lessons on Education City. So this lesson is going to be about carnivores and herbivores and what they eat. And you'll notice the links down here go directly to Education City, which is a different platform. It's a different platform because this is recording the student's performance in pure accredited academics, whereas in the language platform, we're just recording their progress from a language perspective. So you're getting 2 sets of data, 2 sets of student statistics out of this.
Granny
One
is preparing another scrumptious meal for everyone on the farm.
Lessons, and the other is from the academic lessons here in the Education City itself. But right here in the Mind to Pocket language lesson, the CLIL Bridge lesson is linked on one side back to the CEFR online lesson, and it's linked on the other side to the pure academic lessons in Education City. So the links are all right here. You're just moving from one step to the next step in pretty much the same environment until you go to the final academic lesson in Education City. And so quite often these Education City academic lessons are going to have more than one asset associated with them, sometimes up to 3. And links to each one of those assets can be accessed right here from the language program. So you go directly from the language program and you go directly into the academic program after you've been prepared for it by the language support side. Okay, so one more time in review. Step 1 is to do the CEFR pure language lesson in the books. Then we move to the CEFR online lessons. Step 3 then is to go to the online CLIL prep lessons to prepare the students for the academics, to step 4, which is Education City platform. And that's really how the program works. One more point I'll note down here is that some of the CLIL pre-lessons are not included because some of the Education City academic lessons don't really need the language support. Some are simple enough that the students can accommodate them without a language lesson. So you'll find that at times, in that case, you go directly from the online CEFR lessons, and the links there, they don't take you to a CLIL pre-lesson, they just take you directly to Education City, and we're skipping step 3 in those cases. So you'll find that sometimes. Just mention it here so as not to be confused if that happened. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our video. This will give you an insight on the student flow. It's very rich content. It's pretty easy to use because everything is just one step after the other.